Guys, welcome back to Raising Ash, all you trainers out there. And today we're going to look at the top 10 Pokemon from Breakpoint. Now, these are all the top 10 Pokemon that I think will be pretty, let's say, delicious to have. So let's start here on my grading scale. So my grading scale is playability. I look at four tournament plays. Cards need to be quick, fast, and deadly. The cards selected can fit into tournament play. So the ones I selected need to be for tournament play, and that's what I look at in cards. Can I play it in a tournament? Can I not play it in a tournament? The other thing I look at is meta. There are great cards in the set. Unfortunately, in the current meta, there are not always the best cards. So what I'm looking for is the best cards to play with our current meta. Now, metas change over time, and unfortunately, some cards that you really want to play are just not going to fit into the meta at this point, but could be great cards later down the road. So the other thing I look at when I grade these things, I look at cost. It's not always about creating something new; it's about expanding what you have. So it's cost savings and expanding on decks create maneuverability for quick tournament play. A lot of times, you have to buy cards, get cards, scrounge cards up here or there. So I'm looking at cards. Maybe you already have a deck and you just want to insert a card or two into that deck and not really break the bank by creating a whole new deck with a whole new level of Pokemon and trainers and so forth. So these are the type of things I look for in the cards, and we're just going to move right along from the grading scale and get right into it. So we have at number 10, Heatmore. Fire. HP is 100. He's a basic Pokemon. He has, for one fire energy, he does Fortified Flame. 20 plus damage. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this attack does 20 more. So let's talk about this for a second. One of the biggest decks right now is the Vespiquen Vileplume deck, and another deck is a Night March deck in for standard. So if you are to be able to get 20 plus a muscle band on him, plus uh, uh, that'll do 20 more, you are looking at 60. So if you are able to get set up on the first turn with a Heatmore, you could definitely be looking at a possible 120 damage to a Vespiquen or a possible 60 damage right on that Punkaboo. You can do the prize card exchange. I do believe I paired him with Mega Houndoom. I think Mega Houndoom might have a partner in this. And the reason why I believe that is because Mega Houndoom's just lacking, the whole deck's lacking just a very quick attacker to get rid of those small little basic Pokemons. 4 fire and 2 colorless, Heat Blast is 70 damage. That's not a bad attack. You put a muscle band on there because you're already going to have one on there, and you're doing 90 damage on a basic Pokemon for 100. He's not the easiest thing to knock out, but yes, you can play him as a basic Pokemon. He doesn't have a resistance, and he is weak to water. He also has a pretty strong retreat cost at 2, a pretty reasonable one. I did go ahead and check the cost out for that card online, and online that is $1.25. So it's not a bad card. A card you can sort of toss in there and have some better matchups with the top tier decks that are going on right now. So let's go ahead and move on. Number 9, we got Togekiss EX Fairy HP 170. It's a basic Pokemon, and for one fairy, you can do Wind of Power, 20 damage. You may attach an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, this is a massive play here because it's an energy card. It's not a basic card, it's any energy card that's in your deck. I think that this will bring back the Garatina EX. We are also getting Max Potion back, so you could see some Garatina play where after they attack with this, they're able to set down their DDE onto it. Now, again, that's a double dragon rainbow energy, so the Aromatisse can move it around if she needs to. But yeah, I think that'll bring back this deck. I think it'll have more potential for the deck and be able to rub that Garatina up a little bit faster than it was getting revved up before. For a fairy and 3 colorless, Hurricane Wind does 50 damage. This is an awful, awful attack. If you are playing that tech, you might as well concede at this time because you're going to flip 4 coins. This attack does 50 damage times the number of heads. When a Pokemon BX has been knocked out, your opponent takes 2 prizes. I would suggest that if you are playing that attack, you are in some deep, deep trouble and not to pick this card out for that attack. It does have a resistance to darkness, which most fairies do, which is a great, great thing, and a retreat cost of 1. which is nice. You can go ahead and put a retreat cost of one to get Togekiss out there. It's not too expensive and it's easy to go ahead and retreat that off a fairy and then just use an energy recycler to get it back in. That card right now is running about $5.75. So it is a great card to go out and purchase, in my opinion, and definitely play around with it with this type of deck. So we're going to go ahead and move on. And what we have here is at number 8, we have Espeon EX. It's a psychic, HP 170, and it's a basic Pokemon. For one colorless, and this is going to be its main attack, you are going to be able to do Miracle Shine. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon and put the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's hand. Now, I think that this is a great card, and if you compare it up with some Greninjas and Miltanks, and of course the startling megaphones, you could definitely put people in some big predicaments where they're having to evolve or turning off their Garbotoxin's ability. And what this does is with Water Shuriken, you can put 30, 60 damage on it, and then when they evolve into their stage 1 Pokemon, you can just go ahead and devolve it. And since most basic Pokemon are at 60 HP, like a Bronzor, you would actually knock that Pokemon out. So it's a little bit of a trick card and you would have to get it in play, but for one colorless, it's worth the try. Now his second attack for a Psychic and two color is Psycho Shock. 70 damage, and whoa, that is a Psycho. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on the defending Pokemon. So yeah, that is a great attack to have if there's effects like I would say like a Regis up there, and you just want to knock that Regis out, you can do that 70 damage and do a 2-turn knockout on it possibly. I would definitely say do not be using this card for that Psycho Shock attack. Its real power is in that Miracle Shine, and that's what you want. You want a miracle when you're playing this card. So I think it'll be a great card. It's a great buy. It has a resistance of none, but a retreat cost of one. It is weak to Psychic, so watch out for when you're playing against a Mewtwo deck. And it is going for $5.75. That is not a bad take. $5.75 is worth a purchase for a couple of those. So we're going to go ahead and move on. What we have here is number 7, the Frogadier. Water, HP 70. And I put this at number 7 because I personally and I have not been in this game that long as some of you all, because you can tell me definitely more than even I could. I have only been in this game since Plasma Freeze. So I have never seen a card quite like this. Maybe there's been another one out in circulation a while back, and you guys can put it down. But for one water, you can do something called a water clone. Search your deck for up to 3 Frogadiers and put them on your bench. Now that is massive. That means you get to put all those stage ones right onto your bench, and then you can go ahead and evolve into Greninja next turn. I think it's a massive play, and it gives you the ability to play this whole stage line out, a 4 by 4 by 4 by maybe 3 on the stage line. And so it's a massive play. It is weak to grass. That means that Vespiquen will be out to get this one, and it has a resistance of none and a retreat of 1, which isn't too bad. Now, it is running for $2. It is one of the more expensive stage 1, and you are going to want to run this line with the Startling Megaphone, because if Garbodor is out there and he's turning these abilities on, it will prohibit this type of deck to really get into play. So definitely look at that card to be running it with it. All right, we have moving right along. We have a lot more to go. We have number 6, Slowking Water, HP 100. I really like this card. I really, really, really like this card. And I don't know how it's going to play off. And of course, I've been wrong in the past, and you guys can all write how wrong I am about this card. But it is a stage 1. It evolves from Slowpoke. I like that it's a stage 1, but let's take a look at its ability, King's Inspiration, because it is a King's Inspiration. And it is inspiring me to play this card when this set comes out. Once during your turn before you attack, you may flip a coin. Now I know it's a coin flip, but you put enough of these down there, eventually you're going to hit heads for that bench. If heads, choose an energy, attach it to your opponent. So let's talk about this for a moment. If you got an actual card sitting down on there, and everybody's playing those Shaman EXs, and you go ahead and flip a head, you can take it from the active and put it down anywhere you like on your opponent. Now, that is massive because everybody's running those shamans. If it's maybe a Giratina sitting in the active, you can take that and attach it to a shaman, that DDE, and attach that to a shaman. And what happens to it? That's only for dragons. So that will get discarded. It is a very tricky card to play, and it is a coin flip, but because it's a stage one, it has certain quality to it that I like. That ability to get those stage ones, if you get three of these up on your bench, or even two of them are dangerous, but three of them I would call deadly. You can definitely set up a defensive type of play setting. Now, Kyogre EX has been really lacking for defensive type of play settings when it's running on its capacity. So I paired it with a Kyogre. I might throw in an Articuno, and I'd definitely take a Manphy with this on this one. Again, a startling megaphone and a red card would keep the hand down and take all those Garbertoxin uh, Garbertoxin's abilities away, which you would need to run this. So I do like it. I like how the way this was my pairing. I think you guys could come up with something better, but I like how the way that this card looks. I can't wait to see it in action. So let's take a look at its second attack. It's a water and a colorless. It's called Psych Up. 40 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon Psych Up attack does 40 more. Now that's a reasonable attack. I would say if you are attacking with this Pokemon, there is trouble ahead. And that means that things have gone seriously wrong on your turn, and you definitely do not want to be using this as one of your main attackers. So it is weak to grass. Vespiquen will be after this type of card, and the resistance is none, but the retreat is two. So you're definitely going to want to take a float stone into this deck and make sure you float stone this, or better yet, run that Manphy. If it does have a water energy attached to it, it can retreat. So you have possibilities of getting it out of that active situation. And it's only $1.25. I like the price on that card. It is $1.25, and for $1.25, it's worth to pick up a couple of them at. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to take a look at the number 5, Embor EX Fire, HP 180. Now, there's a little deck that comes out. It is a basic Pokemon. There's a little deck. It's called the Entei deck, and I think this card will be perfect for that. Now, it has for one fire and a colorless, you can do Spiral Punch. 20 times damage. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 20 damage times the number of heads. 20 damage times the number of heads. Now, I admit that is hard to get that 20 damage times the number of heads, and I would not be buying this card for that attack. Now, the second attack, Strong Flare. Let's talk about that one a little bit. Before two Fireless and two Colorless, you can do 150 damage. Discard two energy attached to this Pokemon. When a Pokemon EX has been knocked out, your opponent takes two prize cards. So this attack is actually the same attack that's currently being played with the Chizard, and it's a cheaper card. So if you're looking at buying that Chizard card out there that's being played with the Entei deck, and you know the expense of it, you might decide to do this card because the Chizard card really is only getting played for that 150 damage on it. And the reason why is because you can blacksmith up two Fyrus and lay down a colorless and a muscle band, and you're able to do a one-hit knockout on most Yveltals and Manetrix, which is just a massive blow. It is weak to water, as you can see, and the resistance is none. The retreat cost is 3. But again, for the price at $5.75, that is worth a card. So if you have those Enentes and you've been thinking about purchasing that Chizard, I would say hold off, wait, go ahead and purchase that Embor. That price might even drop because of that attack. And really, that's what they're playing that Chizard for, is for that attack. So let's go ahead and move on to our number 4 card. Now, our number 4 card is a Nightmare card. Garbodor, Psychic, HP 100. We are all familiar with this card. It is a stage 1, evolves from Trubbish. The ability is Garbotoxin. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool card attached to it, each Pokemon in play in each player's hand and in each player's discard pile has no abilities except Garbotoxin, which means it turns off all abilities. That card was best paired with Seismitoad and Yveltal back in the day, and Mega Mewtwo I think you can pair it with. So what you're looking for is attackers that really don't have any abilities. You pair it with Garbotoxin, and then you basically turn everything off. The reason why I think it might pair well with Mega Mewtwo is because of its second attack. You do have the ability playing those psychic energies to play it with Mega Mewtwo or the Seismitoad because the second attack is actually a pretty reasonable attack. You got Psychic and three colorless Panic Bomb, 60 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and confused. Now, I don't know if you've ever been poisoned and confused, but that was a huge deal with the Excelsior card deck. So if you're poisoned and confused, it definitely does make you give pause for a second before you attack. I think that's a great attack for the card. I think you can pair it with Mega Mewtwo or a Mewtwo type of deck and go ahead and use that type of attack with DM Valley. I think Dimension Valley will be big with this card. Now it is weak to Psychic, like it's always been. Its resistance is none, and it has a massive retreat cost of 3. Now, if you get pulled up in the active, the card you actually want to use with this card is the Float Stone. So you put the Float Stone on it, it gets pulled up in the active. If they can't knock it out, then you float it back down to the bench on the next turn. Now, I like the price of this card. It's $1.50. The old cars from the were a lot more expensive from the past. The other Garbodors were a lot more expensive. So this is the time to buy this card because it will go up in price. It will be a wanted card, and people usually will play a 2 off line in their deck. So playing a 2 off isn't bad in the deck, and just having the card around when you want to meet it for different tournament styles, you can go ahead and grab it out and play it. Now let's go ahead and move right along. So we're going to head over and look at Garchomp at number 3. Fighting HP 130. Stage 2 evolves from Gabite. For one fighting, Assault Turbo does 60 damage. Now let's check out the effect of this. Choose one energy card in your discard pile and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Now that is just massive. That's any energy card in your discard pile and you attach it to one Pokemon. So you can attach a strong energy to a Lucario. You can also get this out by flipping a Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. And once you flip that Maxie's, you can put this right on your bench. This gives you a couple more options, but on top of that, its second attack is not bad either. Biting Pledge, 80 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 80 more damage. So if you're muscle banding this is going to do 160, 170, 180, and you are going to be able to one hit knock out a lot of Pokemon EXs. I think that's a massive hit, and that first attack's great, especially to accelerate that energy and get those on Lucario. It almost nearly works as a baby Yvelta, except it's a little bit better than that. Alright, so it is weak to grass. So again, that Vespiquen is going to be after this card. The resistance is none and the retreat is 0. The card is running about $3.75, which is a pretty reasonable deal. You can go out and pick up 2 of these, and just have them around the deck. I don't think you're gonna need more than 2 of these, and you always have the ability to play that Super Rod to pull them back in, or play that Sacred Ash to pull them back in. Let's go ahead and move right along. So what do we have here? We have number 2, Manphy EX, Water, HP. Now on my HP 120. This is a basic Pokemon. Its ability is Aqua Cube, and everybody will be after this card because of its ability. Each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached to it has no retreat cost. It's a WW. So water energy for 2 water energies, a mineral pump at 60 damage. You heal 30 HP from each of your Pokemon bench. Now, this will be a massive play because you're going to be able to use that water energy as a retreat. So you can play Zoroark with it. You could play Mewtwo with it. You can play Yveltal, and you can tech this card into a lot of decks and put in a couple of water energies and go ahead and start retreating people as they come, especially with some of these colorless type of Pokemons like Zoroark and Psychic Infinity that are colorless. You can use this as a tech card just to get other cards out of there. It does have a retreat cost of 1, but again, you can put a water energy on and retreat it right out. Now, the price of it is $7.50. I think it will go up in value. I think this is a great time to go and get that card. Now let's see my number one Pokemon. Drum roll, please. That wasn't really a drum roll. I'm not sure what that was. But this is the card I do like at the number one station. We got Greninja Breakwater HP 170. This is a nice card. And the reason why it's a nice card, because you compare this with its XY brother, little sibling there, and you will be able to do the water shuriken. So the break evolution evolves from Greninja. Greninja Break retains the attack abilities, weakness, resistance, and retreat cost of its previous evolution. Ability Giant Water Shuriken. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may discard a water energy from your hand. Then put 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. 6 damage counters is massive. That's a lot of damage. Plus a water Shuriken, you can be doing 90 damage on a single one. You pair this with a Miltank, and a Miltank's going to be doing 80 plus 90. You are going to be knocking out a lot of Pokemon with this. If it has a muscle band, you'll be one hitting a lot of Pokemon. I think that this is a great card. I think it's one of the more valuable cards in the entire deck. I also like the price of it. It's going at $5.75 at this moment. I think that's a great price, and that you guys should get a couple of these into your decks if possible. Trade for them and sort of see how this goes. Now, the only drawback that this is ability, and we got Garbotoxin running around out there. So you are going to have to play it with Startling Megaphones. You are going to have to play it with red cards to try and limit your opponent's hands. And you are going to have to knock those tool cards out. You could also be playing it with Zero Sick and having some of those tool cards out. I would suggest you definitely play this with Fisherman though. Fisherman will allow you to draw those energies out of those discard piles and really, really start going to town with that Water Shuriken and the giant Water Shuriken. And that's what you really want to happen with this type of deck. Really use up those water energies that way. All right, that was my number one Pokemon, and I just want to go over some quick things. These are my Cool Beans cards. Yes, my Cool Beans cards. I love my Cool Beans cards, but I do not think that these will be competitive. These will be cool cards to have, and I will go through each one and tell you why. Because we got a Mega Grotadors. Why isn't Mega Grotadors going to be competitive? Because he has a huge charge to him. He takes like 4 water energies to get up. And what is he weak to? He's weak to Manectric. Manectric is a top tier deck, and Manectric's going to one shot this with a muscle band right out of the stadium. So, no, you're not going to really want to put. If you get it, that's awesome. I wouldn't put too much value on that. Now you have M Scizor, Iron Crusher, 120. I mean, that's not bad. But what deck do we have out there? We have the Entei Chizar deck. And what is this weak to? It is weak to fire. It is not going to win that prize card exchange, especially when Entei can run 4 energies. And he doesn't even need to get that DC out. You won't have time to do Iron Crusher because he's just going to smash you with his massive attack at 130. So I do not think that this is competitive at the moment. Now, I do think these will be nice cards to have in the future as the meta moves on. We might see more play from these cards. Now, let's talk about Palkia. I think Palkia is actually a pretty reasonable card. And the reason why it didn't make my top 10 is because it's weak to water. I mean, weak to leaf. It's weak to leaf to grass. So if it's leaked, sorry, if it's weak to grass, I mean, who's the biggest players out there that are hitting us for the most amount of damage? We got Vespiquen just smacking the heck out of all these cards with massive amount of damage. You're only going to need to put 7 Pokemon in there, and Vespiquen's going to one-hit knock out your Pokemon. You're not going to win the prize exchange, and you're going to be upset that you never got the energy to attach to the card up fast enough to attach to another card. It's a massive, massive type of play. So I would not put this in with the decks right now as a top tier card. We have Trevenant, and I love this Trevenant. I love this Nervous Seed because it forces the active Pokemon to have 1 more energy. You put it, if it's an EX, you can put a Head Ringer on it and take 2 energies to get up. Now, I think that this card could be competitive. I think out of all these cards, this is the most reasonable of the card to say, hey, we have some probability that this might work. The problem is that Trevenant's twin there has item lock to it. And I think most players would really rather deal with item lock. It is also weak to darkness. And what is one of the most top tier decks that are out there right now? It is Yveltal Zorarok. So it will have a seriously hard time dealing with Yveltal Zorarok. Even if it can go ahead and head ringer things and try and disrupt energy flow. The deck is too fast. Even with that, it is too fast. It could easily go into two DCEs and knock this thing out. I don't think Trevenant will be a serious play. And I just don't think it is because of its brother too. You know, it's got item lock. Everybody wants the item lock. Nobody wants to increase energies. But out of all the cards, like I said, I think this has the most potential to see some tournament play. I think it'll be that clever person that really comes up with the clever deck to see if they can get it to work properly. Now, we have Dark Rhea EX. Now, I like Dark Rhea EX a lot, but it is weak to fighting. And when you're weak to fighting, and one of the biggest decks out there is the Lucario Bats, Lucario Hammers decks, it really makes you pause on whether you want to put a Dark Rhea down. Now, the Yveltal decks don't run the Dark Rheas at all. They run the Zoroks, and you are willing to take that hit because it's only for one prize card. But playing back in the day, I know when I ran Dark Rhea, the thing I used to hate to see was a Landorus and a Muscle Band and a Fighting Stadium and a uh, uh, in a Fighting Stadium and a Strong Energy. It would just knock the heck out of my Dark Rhea. It was the most scariest thing I've ever seen when they one shot it like that. It was pretty impressive. So I don't think Dark Rhea at this point for standard will be competitive. I think you can move him around and expand it and see if anything happens. I think its other twin though is a lot better. I think he's got a lot better going for him as his twin, the regular standard Dark Rhea, especially with the 30 to the bench. Now, what do you think? I would love to hear some comments and feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me if those are your top tens. I want to hear it from you guys all out in Pokemon that's playing. What do you think is going to be competitive? What do you think is just going to go out there and steal the game? I'd love to hear it from the set. And please stay tuned. I am going to go over those trainers and we are going to talk a little bit about those trainers. This set, especially, this set is the set you want to buy items on. They have some really extraordinary items coming out in this set that I am going to get to. I'm probably going to take a top five list and just talk about five items that I think are going to be worth the purchase and worth getting. I also am noticing that the prices on the items are already extraordinarily high. Probably some of the highest item prices I've ever seen before since playing starting to play about 3 years ago. I've never seen such high item costs. So you really want to pick up those items and you want to pick them up as soon as possible. If you don't pick them up, I guarantee you some of those items are going to go up. Not all of them. As the game goes on and people figure out what's good and what's bad, they'll realize what was worth picking up and what was not worth picking up. But I will take a top five out. I will try and guide you, all those Raisin Ash trainers out there, and sort of see if we can get the right cards for you to buy and sort of think about. But again, I am definitely not the all say of Pokemon, so I am wrong lots. Lots of times I'm wrong. I'm wrong. So tell me where I'm wrong at. Let me hear your comments and feedback. And go ahead and shoot them out to me. All right, this is Raisin Ash out.